What up, guys? This is
Cheevo, guys!
back here again with another video. Today, I'm going to be unboxing the PlayStation 5. Now, first and foremost, you're probably wondering, how did I get a hold of one of these things? Being that they are pretty much sold out everywhere, and if they do become in stock somewhere, they're selling out within, 5 minutes. If you're interested in finding out how I purchased my PlayStation 5, I'll be talking about it towards the end of the video. For now, let's go ahead and unbox this thing. So as you can see, I ended up purchasing the $4.99 version, which is the version with the Blu-ray drive. Originally, I was actually leaning towards getting the digital version. However, I ended up finding a PlayStation 5 in stock, and it was only the disc version. So I ended up going with the $4.99 PS5. Now, as you can see, it supports up to 8K. A lot of people don't have an 8K TV, but it's cool to know that the console will support it once it's a thing. It also supports 4K up to 120 frames per second and has HDR. Now we're going to go ahead and look at the sides of the box. It shows the contents right here. It comes with the PlayStation 5 console, the wireless controller, the base, the HDMI cable, the AC power cord, the USB cable, the printed materials, and it actually includes a free game, Astro's Playroom. I actually like the box for the digital version better, but that's just because the box is black. I like the black box just a little bit better. Now, the first thing I noticed is it's 825 gigabytes. I don't know why, but I thought this was a 1 terabyte console. The Xbox Series X is 1 terabyte. And I ended up looking it up, and after the operating system, you only have 667 gigabytes left out of the 825. So realistically, it's 667, not 825, and that really can't hold too many games. And unfortunately, right now, the PS5 doesn't have any expandable storage. You can plug in a hard drive, but not the same type of storage that it has internally, a SSD. And as we all know, you need an SSD to run modern next-gen games. So you'll be able to run your backwards compatible PS4 titles off of an external hard drive. But if you want to run those next-gen games, you're going to need to put them on the internal hard drive. And eventually you're going to run out of space pretty quickly, especially if you're downloading games like Call of Duty that are towards 100 gigabytes. So we're going to go ahead and break the seal on this and get this PS5 opened. As you can see, it has the regular plastic seal, but also a PlayStation seal, just to know if your console has ever been opened or not. As you can see, mine was perfectly sealed. I ended up getting it from PlayStation.com. I'll talk more about that experience at the end of the video. Let's go ahead and pull this thing out. I'm going to try not to rip the box. Personally, I like to hold on to these boxes and keep them, just in case I decide maybe to sell it one day. I can sell it with the box. So I tried to keep the boxes in good condition. Next, I went ahead and covered up my serial number just to protect my console. We're going to go ahead and flip it open and see what we have inside. First thing I noticed is the packaging on the Xbox Series X and S was way nicer, and they put a lot more time and effort into it. As you can see, the PS5 has some pretty basic packaging. Really, the only thing we have holding this PS5 right now is this egg carton style packaging. So we're going to go ahead and set this down and slip the PS5 out, and we'll go ahead and take these egg cartons off of the side, and we'll go ahead and reveal this console. I'm really hoping mine doesn't have any issues. That's one of the risks that you take when you buy a brand new console at launch. You don't know if it has any issues yet. I'm hoping that mine doesn't have any issues because I really don't want to have to send it in and get any sort of warranty replacement. So I'm crossing my fingers. Now you have a little utility box at the bottom of the box. So we're going to go ahead and pull that out. I'm assuming that has the wires and the DualSense controller. As you may know, PlayStation took a different approach to the next-gen controller, and they decided to totally build it from the ground up. They finally decided to move on from the DualShock branding, and they introduced the DualSense controller. So once you open up this little utility box, first thing we have is the quick start guide. I'm going to go ahead and put that to the side. Then next we have the safety guide. Also going to put that to the side for now. Let's see what's in here. Okay, so this is the infamous base that everybody is talking about. You actually need to install this base on your console if you're interested in laying it down horizontally. And this is really important because this is a big console. A matter of fact, it's the biggest console of all time. And if you're interested in putting this in your entertainment center, you're going to need to plan accordingly. Besides that, they've totally simplified the way that we plug in our consoles these days. All we have is an HDMI wire and then an AC power cord. And that's about it. All you need to do is plug in the HDMI for your video and the power cord in for the power. I'm pretty sure that you can use the wires from the previous console too. It makes it real easy for switching your console, maybe, back and forth from your room to the living room, at least for me. Now, one thing I'm really happy they adopted is the USB-C. We're really starting to see a trend where most of technology is adopting the USB-C. So it's pretty cool that you can use the same wire for your PlayStation DualSense as well as your Xbox Series X or S controller. They have the same plug. Now, the DualSense has a ton of new features. Not only that, but it has this two-tone look to it. And first thing I noticed is that it's a pretty heavy controller, and that's probably just because it's packed with brand new technology. It definitely feels high quality. It's a pretty dense controller. Now, the thing that everybody seems to be talking about this brand new controller is the fact that it has the adaptive triggers. Supposedly, you're supposed to be able to feel the tension when you're pushing down the triggers. I've heard that the best way to experience all of the new features in the new controller is by playing the brand new Astro's Playroom game to be able to check out all of these new features. So that's probably the next thing on my to-do list. Maybe I'll talk more about it after I play it. But for now, I just got it unboxed and I haven't played my PlayStation 5 quite yet. The other thing I noticed is that they finally got rid of the classic buttons. If anything, I thought they would have colors in the different shapes, but they all have that same gray tone to it. So yeah, they got rid of the colors in the X, square, circle, and triangle, which I thought was an interesting move. So yeah, once again, I thought it was a little cheap for them to use this type of packaging with the egg carton style support versus, the Xbox Series X was pretty much sitting in foam. And overall, that unboxing was just way more presentable. They did a lot of work and put in a lot of effort into that packaging. I really wish I would have seen the same effort go into the PS5 packaging, especially considering this is the biggest console of all time, and it definitely needs some good support and packaging to make sure that it stays intact and that nothing cracks or scratches. Anyhow, let's go ahead and open this up. I've heard that this is a big boy. You really can't tell how big it is in this video, but just to give you an idea, it barely fits in the frame. The whole console is almost cut off just due to how large it is. If you look at my Xbox Series X unboxing, I'm able to easily fit the whole console in this frame. But this PS5, it just goes out of frame a little bit, especially when I have it sitting vertically. Honestly, it just really makes me appreciate my Xbox Series X even more because they were able to pack the same amount of punch in that small rectangle as this huge PS5. But I gotta admit, they took some risks creatively, and I do respect them for that. The console does look very futuristic. It looks like a console from the 2020s, which is appropriate. The thing is that it's just really big. If I could change one thing about the design, I would change the black portion from the glossy texture more to like a matte texture, just because that glossy finish in the middle of the console is going to get dirty really easily with fingerprints, dust, things like that. Now, other than that, I promised that at the end of this video, I would talk about how I got my PS5, just because they're really hard to get a hold of right now, even if you have the money for it. Now, personally, I found myself almost purchasing one from some scalpers, but I ended up holding out because that is the right thing to do. Do not give in to the scalpers, guys. Make sure that you get one at the normal price, which is either $399 for an all digital version or $499 for this version, the regular PS5 with the disc drive. If people continue to purchase from the scalpers, they're going to continue to try to flip them, and they're going to continue to be out of stock. So if you want the PS5 to get back in stock and you don't want to pay double the price, then don't give in to the scalpers, and eventually it will all even out. So yeah, I recommend trying to get one through PlayStation.com through the direct queue. The only thing is that these queues go up randomly, and you have to keep an eye out on Twitter if you want to get a chance to get in one right away. I recommend following Wario64 on Twitter. Personally, I set up my post notifications for his Twitter feed, and I ended up getting notified once the direct queue was live on PlayStation.com. I entered my spot in line, and I ended up getting an opportunity to purchased the disc drive version. There was not any digital versions available once I got my spot in line, but I wanted the $4.99 version anyhow. Besides that, more than likely I do have some trophy guides on the way for some PS5 exclusives, such as Spider-Man Miles Morales, so make sure you guys keep an eye out for those. Other than that, I'd like to give a huge thank you to all of my Patreon subscribers. We just hit 20 patrons. I'd like to give a special shout out to everybody in the biggest fan club, including TimG84, AOJ, Blackbird, and Kegger101. As always, I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment and don't forget to like and subscribe.